Hello, everybody. Today, so we've been tasked with a lot of safety trainings. I'm gonna do these as much as possible to make sure that y'all get the safety training that you need. We'll be going over some. I'll try to keep them as short and sweet as possible, but the ones that are longer, they're just gonna have to be longer, just because sometimes things take a little more time to cover. All right. But first things first. Today, what we're going to learn about, a lot of it might not apply as much to a lot of the people that go to our program, but it is still something that's good to go over. But it's about choking. Now everybody's at risk for choking all the time. Some people are at higher risk for choking for different reasons. And so we're going to go over choking and what to do, and also foods that may be at put somebody at a higher risk for choking. So the DDS has a toolkit, like a bridge to wellness. The first one is called My Dining Profile. Sorry, that's 2 pages. But you can see here, My Dining Profile. Now, it's really for staff. This is most important to help us work together with the individuals that we support to prevent choking. I have worked at places where for certain people that would be in my group, that they would be at a higher risk for choking. And so, what this is, it's called a dining profile. So, it would have the person's name on it. The person's information would be obtained from either their personal care physician, a nutritionist or dietitian, a vendor, or a DSP. DSP is kind of the overall term that we use for staff. It just means direct support professional, from a family member or from another source. Now again, when it comes to a nutritionist or dietitian, this could also be for people not so much for choking, but also say you're at a higher risk for diabetes, or like gluten allergies or things like that. A lot of times either a personal care physician, the family, or a nutritionist or a dietitian can help with that. All right, so then what it goes over is, and this would be good to know for anybody, but has a person had a choking incident in the past year, and then you'd want to mark yes or no for that. I think there's only been one time in my life that I've ever really kind of started to choke on something that I got kind of scared, and it is a really scary feeling, because suddenly you're like, I don't know what to do, and for some reason you try to take care of it yourself because it's almost like embarrassing, it feels like, and you think you can just get through it, but asking for help is, most people kind of do it at the towards the end, where it's just like, I need help now, like I can't deal with it. And so we should always be making sure that we're doing our due diligence and watching each other to make sure, because everybody's at risk for choking. Okay, and then if somebody did answer that they had a choking experience in the past year, so you have to describe the circumstances as to what caused it. So I'll just think about my own choking incident. Let's see, it was a long time ago, but I do think I was in high school. And so I'd think about what would be the healthiest sitting position for the person. Was I sitting upright? Was I doing something weird? I can't remember that. Like I said, it was a long time ago. But it would be a good thing. So if you did choke on something, remember how you're sitting, maybe what you were doing, and that put me at more of a risk for choking. What the person's favorite food are. So do remember that. But I think I was eating steak. I think that's what happened. Is I was actually walking around while eating my food, and I was probably like talking to somebody else at the same time or doing something, and that's how I ended up choking. So you should really sit and eat your meal. At least I should sit and eat my meal, but I would suggest that for everybody. Walking around, talking is not the best time, and eating is not the best thing to do. There's too many things at once. So you want to know what their favorite foods are. For me, of course, it was steak. What is the appropriate bite size? Now, that's important for anybody. Notice whenever you eat something, like what is the best bite size? Should we be shoving food into our mouths as much as possible? No, that's unsafe. That's a huge choking risk. And make sure, so if you're eating, say, like I said, for me, a steak, make sure it's cut up. Make sure you're cutting appropriate sizes that that you can eat well. Not something that's too big. Too small usually doesn't hurt. I don't see how that would make anybody choke if someone's like, you have like a tiny little piece of something. I don't think you're ever going to choke on that. So, what is the appropriate bite size for somebody? And especially if they have a continuing choking problem or choking difficulty. What their favorite drinks are. I don't know how that exactly relates to choking, but you should know what their favorite drinks are. Maybe, I guess if it's something that's more coagulated, like milk or something like that, maybe it doesn't help us much to get everything down. Yeah, so appropriate drink thickness. I guess you can choke while you're drinking something. It could be a shake or something like that where it's too thick or maybe not mixed up enough. You want to make sure, or maybe it's a dietary drink that might be thicker. And so you want to make sure that maybe you thin it out a little bit to make sure that it avoids choking out. What are the person's eating habits? That would be what time of day, what types of things they like to eat. Know the person's lunchtime. Do they snack? And what do they snack on? Because some snack foods are choking hazards as well. And also what to watch for. Like after you've taken into account all of these things, what should you be watching for? I did have an instance once when I was working somewhere else where I did see someone choking, and they were just taking too big of bites, and eventually I helped clear their passageway and everything like that. But it's because they were taking too big of bites, and so I talked to the person's family and things like that, and we kind of came up with a plan for the future as to instead of what they were eating, which I don't want to say, but what they were eating, that maybe if we cut it up just into quarters, so that it would be where a quarter is just, 4, cut it in half and then half again. And then, that would be more of an appropriate eating size. But again, you want to know what to watch for when it comes to this. Okay, so the next part for this, and again, this is kind of your own self-checklist. For me, it's also very good. So the person's profile, like our own profile, should include our likes, dislikes, and eating habits. Will help us understand what to watch for to prevent choking incidents. The healthiest sitting position. So for many people, the healthiest position for eating is sitting upright at a 90-degree angle. Now, I'm a sloucher, so, but my grandma always told me, sit up straight, so I should do that better, but at a 90-degree angle. However, everyone is different. Ask a medical professional what the ideal sitting position for the person being supported is, so for yourself or for anybody else, but, for me, if I did continue to have choking issues, I would talk to my physician about it and say, well, what would be the best position for me? It's kind of like if you hurt your back and say, so this is how I sleep, and that's usually what they've asked. They say, well, you need to lie flat on your back, or maybe more on your side, or something like that. Now, foods that often lead to choking. Number 1 is hot dogs. At another place that I worked, people could not have a hot dog. Like we checked lunches every day, and hot dogs were definitely on one of the things. Or if we went out somewhere and somebody wanted to get a hot dog, I couldn't tell people what to buy with their money, but we would have to cut the hot dog up into pieces, which is not really a hot dog. But hot dogs are a huge choking hazard. And you don't want to find that out the hard way, but a lot of people have choked on hot dogs. So other foods that lead to choking: meat, pizza, probably eating too fast because it tastes so good, spaghetti, a melon, sandwiches, cake, donuts, nuts, raw vegetables. That's true. Hard candies, corn, popcorn. That's right, and that's another one. We can't have popcorn. Grapes, yes. Beans, crackers, peanut butter. Again, the thickness. French fries. That's so sad because I love French fries. And eating habits that often lead to choking. So eating while not sitting upright, eating fast, bites that are too large, having too much in the mouth at one time, and also pica, which is putting other things in their mouth or eating items other than food. And pica is a very serious thing, but people do eat things like, well, some people like ash, some people like to eat dirt, and a lot of times it's just from malnutrition, and the body needs iron or something like that, and so that's why. So, if you see somebody eating dirt, it's not funny. You should really be concerned about them and try to help them as much as possible. But again, don't walk around while you're eating, as my giant thing. Now, for the last part of this, choking. What are the signs of choking? So how you know? So we've gone over some things, high risk foods, things like that, right sitting position when it comes to choking. So sign of choking. So recognizing the signs of choking. Oh, I'm supposed to cut this in half, I guess. So it's just two of the same thing. It's to double emphasize the point. I guess. I'm supposed to pull it. I don't know. Unless somebody else wants a copy of this. So, signs of choking. You notice somebody's having a difficult time breathing. They're coughing. The next one is big, unable to talk. That means it's really lodged somewhere and they can't speak. Hands around the throat or neck. And what is this? It's the universal sign, I think. Well, maybe not in the universe, but it's at least they call it the universal sign for choking. That means, like, if somebody goes like this, it means I'm choking. I need help. And that they're trying to figure out, like, what they can do as well. Squeaky sounds when trying to breathe. Skin, lips, and nails turning blue or gray. And passing out. So those are things that you want to, and it's really frightening to see that. This isn't a choking thing, but when I was a kid, my brother used to get so upset that he would make himself pass out, which is the last one on this list, and his lips would turn blue. Like, he would get so upset that it'd almost like starve his brain of oxygen because he'd pass out, and then you'd have to sit with him and wait till he revived, and then he'd get back up, and you'd be like, all right, this is why we gotta stay calm, buddy. Stay calm. Calm. Happiness. But so those are the signs of choking. Those are and so if you ever see somebody choking, every staff here has their first aid license or card, and it's first aid CPR, and they definitely go over choking when it comes to that. So we would know what to do. So definitely get somebody that has first aid or CPR. If you know it already, then you know what to do. And, it's kind of your duty at that point in order to do something. But to be helpful, if you're afraid and you think you're going to hurt the person and not help them, but you should alert staff immediately. Even if you're starting to help, just say, I need your help. And then if you're going over to help, keep going, but alert somebody else. That's best, because even if I saw somebody else struggling, I'd be like, you need to get on the phone, call 911, just so that they're here, just in case anything else goes. But immediately, that's what I would have somebody else do. So again, watch for each other. Check out the signs of choking, difficulty breathing, coughing, unable to talk, hounds around the neck, throat, squeaky sounds when trying to breathe, face, skin, lips, nails turning blue, and passing out. Which passing out is probably the worst one. So those are the things that we should watch for. It's been a safety training. This one took about 15 minutes, so hope it wasn't too long. But again, if you ever have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, please feel free to let me know. And I hope to see you all soon for another safety training.